In this video, I'm going to teach you how to take a bag of concrete and turn it into this wonderful aroma-filled herb garden. Smells good. We'll start with a digital design. We'll 3D print some molds. We'll cast some concrete. We'll paint the concrete. We'll plant some plants. This is going to be fun. Let's get started. Welcome back to Timber West Design, where we talk timber, shade structures, and outdoor living. This project is all about bringing a natural touch to your home or outdoor space. Perfect for adding a splash of greenery anywhere you need it. 2 weeks ago, we made this great concrete bowl, turned it into a fire feature. Last week, I took that same exact shape and we turned it into a candle. And this week, we're taking the same shape again to show the versatility and turning it into a kitchen herb garden. Here are the supplies you're going to need for this project. You'll need some Cemental concrete mix. You'll need a bucket to mix it in. You'll need a weight to mix it in the bucket. I love this drill mixer with my drill. You're going to need a scale. It's a 4:1 ratio of Cemental to water. So you need a way to measure that out. You're going to need a mold. A spatula is always helpful. I'll have links to all of these in the description. Once the concrete is cast, we're going to go to the priming and painting phase. In this case, we're going to need a primer. I love this fillable primer. We're going to need a guide coat spray. We're going to need the top coat, sandpaper, spot putty. After that's all done, we will put some soil in there and plant some plants. Every good project starts out with a good design. I want to make this thing an oval shape, 350 millimeters long and 200 millimeters wide. Then we're going to go to the lofting sketch. You're going to see kind of the shape of what it's going to look like there. We'll thicken it. There's the basic bowl. Now I've cut the curve into it. We've added the top mold. I've got to cut this in half because my 3D printer can only do half at a time. So there's the top half of the mold with the rest of the flanges. And there is the complete mold. So with all the bolt holes so they can bolt together. We have a top mold, we have the bottom mold. The middle here is where the concrete will go. It'll actually get poured upside down like this. We'll pour into the top, and that'll be our mold. So now we're going to send this file to the 3D printer. Watching the 3D printer in action is always fascinating. It layers the design with incredible precision, turning a digital concept into a physical object. This process ensures our mold is accurate and durable, and ready to handle the weight of the concrete. The molds are hot off the press from the 3D printer, so we have 2 halves for the inner section that will get bolted together. We have 2 halves for the outer section that will get bolted together. In order to calculate how much Cemental we're going to need for this project, we put the mold on a scale and we're going to fill it full of water and see how much that weighs. And we are 1,754 grams. So I've taken the mold apart again. We need to put some mold release on here. I like to use this canola oil, and I like to put it in a box to kind of contain the spray a little bit. We just need a light coat, nothing too heavy. Just get a good, decent covering. And we'll do both sections, and then we're going to bolt this thing back together. We have the mold put back together. We have some mold release in there. I have the cement all mixed. I have my water, I have my mixer. So the formula to calculate how much water you need is we had 1,754 grams of water. We times that by 1.88. It comes up to 3,297 grams, 3,297. We take 25% of that, which is a 4:1 ratio for the water. That's 824 grams of water. This is more concrete than I like to mix indoors. You do not want to breathe this dust, so let's take it outside for the mix and we'll come back in. So I'm going to pour most of my water in, not all of it. I want this to be based more on consistency. We want a pancake batter consistency. So let's see what we get here. I think we've got all the lumps out. It's looking pretty good. Let's take it back and pour it. Here we go. Still got a few small lumps in there, but I think we're going to be just fine. Just got to fill it up to the brim. And that looks good to me. Are you feeling burnt out from the holidays? Struggling to get back into a routine? Whether you need better sleep, a quick power nap, or just a moment to relax, New Calm has you covered. Try New Calm today with a free 7-day trial. All you need is a mobile device, some headphones, sometimes a speaker to experience the difference. Discover how it feels to truly relax, recharge, and sleep better. Try New Calm today. It's been about 3 hours. Let's take the bolts off. I've got all the bolts off. This is the most exciting part for the first pull. There's some good draft on here. This is just gonna pull easily. There's that section. That pulls right off there. Now let's pull, whoa, it just came right out. Look at that. Oh, that is beautiful. There's a lot of moisture in this still. It's only been 3 hours since we poured it. You need to let the water evaporate out of it, a day or two at least. So I'm gonna wait till tomorrow and then we'll prime this. So it's been a day or two since we've pulled it. I'm getting this ready to prime. There are some little details that we have to sand and clean up. I like to use some 150 sandpaper and just clean up some edges, where the parting lines are. You can use just some sandpaper like this. You can use a block and you can sand it with a block. I also have this cool little sander that works really well, and you just kind of sand along and clean some stuff up. So whatever works for you, just depends on what materials you have. But bottom line is you just want to get this ready and smooth for primer. Now we're going to use a primer. It does a nice job of filling some of the small defects, and it's sandable. So we're going to take it now to this level where this is primed, and I've used this spot putty to fill some of the pinholes and some small defects. Now I'm going to sand the spot putty and get it ready for one more coat of primer. So you sand that down, get it smooth, sanding with 150, and then you want to do that all the way around, and then you'll prime it again. Then you'll end up with this. With this one, I will sand this with 150 lightly. It's pretty smooth right now, so a light 150, finish it off with the 220. So on some of my previous projects, I've done a heavy texture paint. So that means you don't need to finish it quite as fine as if you're gonna do a smooth paint job. So if you're gonna go for a smooth job with more paint like this, you're gonna see the defects that the texture paint's gonna hide. And so you've got to really sand it nice and get it smooth. So that's why we're going for a really nice finish on this one. Here's a trick you can do when priming. On that gray primer, it's kind of hard to see sometimes where the pinholes are. So you do what's called a guide coat. You take some flat black paint, just lightly fog it on here. Then when you take some sandpaper, you can easily see where the low spots are. And you can either sand that out or you can fill one more time if needed, but it's just a quick, easy way to see how good your finish is going to be. Our vessel is now painted. I used this great Rust-Oleum multicolored paint. I think it turned out awesome. So what we need to do is get it ready for planting. So we need some drainage holes, and I'm going to use a masonry bit. I'm going to just drill 2 holes in the bottom. There's 2. Our bowl has holes for drainage, which is needed for a planter. We need to make a drip tray in case you have water that goes in too much. So I made this mold for a drip tray, but guess what happened? I pulled it and it broke. So I probably made this too thin and I potentially pulled it too soon. So plan B is I 3D printed this drip tray, which will go like so. And that's gonna serve as our drip tray. Our vessel is ready for planting. We need some soil and we need some plants, and I know where to go for that. So let's take a little trip and I'll see you over there. Well, we're at Cook's Nursery. I want to introduce you to Maxine. Hello, Maxine.
Hi.
I'm glad to be here. Can you tell us what we have planned here? So we've made the bowl. I came to the experts to come teach us how to plant. What do you have in mind for us?
Okay, so today we're going to put together a bit of a pottage or herb garden, and it's a fancy way of just saying we're sticking herbs in a pot. And
okay.
That's all we're going to do. We're going to put herbs that have similar watering needs together, and they look really pretty, contrasting textures and sizes and growth habits.
Okay.
And they're all useful in cooking, in aromatherapy, and all kinds of different applications. So your first step is going to be to grab some soil. We like to use this Fertilome Ultimate Soil Mix.
What do you like about it?
It's just a really nice, versatile, all-purpose mix. It kind of can go with just about any plant.
Okay.
It holds water well, but isn't going to stay soggy forever. But you see, it's a nice, loose soil mix, right? It's got tons of, enough perlite in there to keep it nice and airy once you've started watering it and everything settles. You've got little bits of shredded bark in there as well to kind of also help with that aeration, okay? And then the next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna decide the placement for all your herbs. What I like to do is have your tall one in the center. This is French lavender. It is a really excellent herb for growing indoors. Not the greatest for growing outside because it's not cold hardy in most of Utah, except southern Utah. So this is a perfect one for in your house though.
Okay.
And so we're gonna pop this one, and when you see that you've got kind of some circling roots in a pot, you're just going to break that up. If it's really badly circling, I will take a serrated knife and just hack it off.
Oh, interesting.
Hack off the sides. I'm not even going to cut slits. I'm going to completely saw it off because the herbs can handle it, the plants can handle it, and it's actually going to stimulate more growth out of them. Set that right in there, okay? I've only filled that soil in about a third of the way, and that way I don't have to create little pockets for myself. This next herb is a purple sage. It is pretty, right? It's purple, so you're going to get a color contrast. But it's also completely useful because you can use it in all your sage cooking.
Okay, great.
Same as your grocery store sage, but
better.
But prettier, right? So you can use it in
fresh.
your stuffings and your, I don't even know, what else do you use sage in? Besides Thanksgiving stuffing. So we're gonna do the same thing over here. We're going to just kind of rip up those roots a little bit, just kind of loosen them up. It doesn't have to be exact, but we like to do just a little bit. Okay, so now this one's a little bit higher up, so I'm gonna scooch it down so that they can kind of be at the same level, okay? And then your last one here, this is a lemon thyme. It's a variegated thyme. You can see the edges of each leaf are yellow, and then you've got that green center. It is absolutely stunning.
My wife makes an excellent lemon thyme cookie with these.
That sounds amazing, and now I need to try that. So I use it in my chicken noodle soups. I absolutely love it. Yeah, so great for cooking. Anytime you want that thyme flavor, but with just that twist of lemon, so good. Obviously in cookies as well, right? Just something a little bit different. And we're gonna pop that one in right over here. And I'm just gonna let this one spill over the sides a bit. The nice thing about thyme is it's so forgiving. You can just give it haircuts as you see fit. If it starts to grow a little out of bounds, grab your scissors and just hack away at it and it'll grow right back for you.
Great.
That's the thyme. This is the basic setup, right? And because you see how our lavender's a little floppy, we're gonna fix that just by adding a little extra soil to top everything off and just kind of snug it in. This is the messy part. So we're gonna kind of push down gently, firm that soil in a little bit, because once you water it, it's gonna settle a ton. All three plants are pretty drought tolerant. These are not plants that you're gonna be wanting to, water every day. In fact, you will kill them with kindness.
Okay.
So you wanna give it about 1 inch to 2 inches down. Stick your finger right in there. And when you feel that the soil is dry 1 inch to 2 inches down, that's when it's time to water.
Okay.
Lavender especially does not like sitting in standing water. So it's going to give you all kinds of grief if you baby it too much.
So once it's dry for 1 inch or so down, how much water at that point?
Soak it.
Soak it.
Soak the whole thing until that water is running out.
Okay.
And because this soil mix is peat-based, peat is going to repel water once it's fully dry. It's hydrophobic.
Okay.
Use your watering can, stick it in the sink, and that's what I do. I will stick mine straight in the sink, and I will just water it for a good minute or two.
Should I take the drip tray off and just let it run out?
Yeah, that's what I do.
Okay.
Just let it soak and soak for a little while,
Interesting.
right?
Okay.
That
Great.
way you know that that soil is being hydrated, that peat is being rehydrated fully. Give it maybe a few minutes afterward and kind of poke your finger in there again and take a look, because sometimes you'll see, sometimes you'll see it looks wet on the surface, but you poke your finger in and it's completely dry because that peat hasn't hydrated fully.
This is why we're here at Cook's, to learn these things. What would you guess a frequency roughly for watering?
Okay, so it's hard to say exactly. I know that's the most obnoxious answer. Nobody wants to hear it, but
depends.
It does. It depends on your lighting. These do want full sunlight, by the way.
Okay.
Find the brightest, sunniest spot you've got in your house. Your generic answer here is going to be bright indirect sunlight when you're growing herbs indoors.
Okay.
You can put direct sunlight on them. They're just fine with that, but work them up to it.
Okay.
A very, very kind of basic guideline would be once every week to 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I would check it once a week is
Great.
what I would do.
Yeah.
Don't go off a calendar. Never go off a calendar. Go by the finger test. Just stick your finger right in there.
Got
you don't want, if you just got your nails done and you don't feel like getting your fingers dirty.
I think my nails are fine.
Stick a wooden skewer in.
Sure.
And if it's coming out with any kind of moist soil clinging to it, it's not ready yet. That top 2 inches.
Perfect.
Okay.
Awesome.
So
This looks fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's practical. Perfect. Here's the finished product. This turned out so good. I'm very, very pleased with how this worked out. I want to thank Maxine at Cook's Nursery in Orem, Utah. She did a great job. Hopefully we'll see them soon on another video. Please like, share, and subscribe if you want to see more fun content like this, and we'll see you next time.